Hello, friends. I have a journal here that's part of the O series, the observation series, and exercises in vision. This one's called Advanced Observing, Disidentify from Mind. And so I'm up here in the clouds. I think that's a good amorphous space to come from. Now, before I go any farther, some of you are looking into things and seeing things, and your vision is morphing and changing, and you're finding yourself able to see different things. And I want to show you the effect of lighting here. Okay. Um, okay, so there's no light, and what you see reflected is my ceiling light. And then there's the one light that I use, that helps, and sometimes I use this other one. Now, I want you to notice how, with the reflection of those two lights, it kind of makes it look like maybe those are fish eyes or cat eyes or reptilian eyes. So be aware, my friends. I've seen a few of these videos that people make, and I think so many times what they're seeing is the reflection in someone's eyes of the person standing there with the video cam. I mean, hello, that makes a long, tall, dark, black image, and I think people are getting carried away, but part of it is just that we're able to see new things, and we're just trying to figure it out. So, onward and upward. This journal is from June 7th of 2010, the fourth one of that day, which the Mayan day was 12 Road. There is so much going on inside of me now, much going on in heart. I can hear some of it as it passes by and get the sense of what goes. Nothing feels quite complete to me yet, but I'm journaling here just to see what comes up. I was listening to Adyashanti a bit ago, and he's really great, especially if you feel stuck in your enlightenment on your path. Adya is a good one for that, for the various ways one gets stuck, and there are many. Until we're fully awakened, watch out, traps abound. And I'm stepping out of the journal here. I still don't know what this fully awakened is all about. I don't think there's any such thing. But back to the journal. To keep close to humility is good. Make her your friend. Superiority's out. All kinds of things can happen to us as we waken. One of the very first steps is observing, just watching the self. That's where the initial step back, the divorce from the ego, occurs, or it can. It's here where we usually realize that we're not that. We divorce from this one whom we thought that we were, and that's great. It's but a first step, though, and there are endless ones more. As I listen to him, I am ever reminded how that staying in heart is a good way to go. It keeps you out of the traps, or at least a short timer in them when you fall into that. Very handy, the heart, don't I know? So, we've talked of stepping back, of putting a little bird on one's shoulder, so to speak, to help back up and observe. And that works. A good first step it does make. You might even try being that birdie then. See what that's like. It's pretty strange when it's done the first time. It's disconcerting. Throws the mind for a loop. What else about observing? Well, we know not to point, not to blame anywhere, anything, anyone, and that's a good start. For blaming's not found in the heart, so that keeps you there, in case you fall out. What next? Well, no criticizing, And this goes in with blame, just a different variety, but the energy's the same. To be critical, really, in any way at all is not of the light. Maybe we can just drop that then. The first step to that is to observe it in self and in others. Just observe. Don't try to change. That doesn't work out. Just watch it, that's all. There's a special magic in that. And then, well, the biggest thing we may find as we go watching by is how cruel to the self we are. We generally share little love with ourself. Just watch, remember. No trying to correct or to fix anything. That may come later. It may not. But this is no time for that. That's not observing, that's doing. And we've given up that to observe. This one's the hardest at first, the not doing. We are so trained into doing, into being in mind, and that's what mind does. It solves problems and fixes things up. This is also a male or a yang energy. Well, actually not. It's rather how male energy got perverted. But we'll go into that later. We're not ready at all, for it's the mind wants to know, and that's the way of the fall into mind. Wanting to know good from evil, then. Sound familiar? Yeah, the mind wants to know. Moving on. So, observing's not doing, not fixing, correcting, nor criticizing, nor looking down on. None of that. No, just seeing. That's all. Only that. You can do it, but it takes presence of mind, so to speak. You have to collect the self in the now if you want to observe. Don't get lost in time. If in future you find self, in past or elsewhere, you've stepped into the mind, so back out of that place. Take your stance in the now and just be present in it. Get back to observing, if you please. You're the chooser, of course. Nothing compels you to do any of this or to quit doing, which is more what it offers than the doing you're used to, my friend. This is also part of taking back your sovereignty, which somehow it seems our life has taken away. But the truth, if it's known, is we gave it away. None compels. Now, as you observe, you're in different stance than you're used to be in. Things begin to seem rather strange. Your perspective's quite different, and this is a natural phase. Just be with it. Be sure to center in heart whenever you think to do that. Might even place little reminders here and there around the places you spend the most time. Just a thought. You do what you like, or nothing at all. Start getting the sense of your sovereignty, how you rule your own life no matter what you've been told. Your life is small, maybe, but it's something you own, more or less. Well, perhaps the ownership's there. It's the definition of the you that I question. More on that elsewhere. And yes, of course, links in the transcript. You may even find yourself getting kind of stoned or in an odd state now and then when you play with perspective this way. And that's okay. Do what you can just to enjoy that. Unless you're at work or the like where it's not at all practical. Don't get canned for that, heaven's sake. Now, I'm going to close this out here, for there's really enough to get you up to your ears, get you your upside on the downside, your in mixed with out, and your poor mind in a state. Fancy that. Actually, as you may know, I like to pretzel the mind this way. It's great for tripping, for the mind. It stays busy while we roam all around. But anyway, one last thing I will say is that observing by itself's not enough. You must stay in the heart to get the full benefit here, for it's in heart where your tutor awaits you, gives instructions, my dear. So heads up, stay in heart, listen there. Thank you. Happy listening, happy watching, my friends, and I'll see you in heart. If you look, you might find me in there, where everything is.